Alright, so today we're changing out the vacuum actuator for the 4-wheel drive on this 98 Blazer. This is old news for some of you, I'm sure, because I've got a couple of videos out there on the subject already, how to diagnose and so forth. But this particular Blazer, I discovered, has a bad seal between the transfer case and the transmission. And so there's actually transmission fluid in the vacuum lines, and the vacuum actuator was looking in pretty rough shape a couple weeks ago when I looked at it. So I'm going to start by removing the battery terminals. I'm going to remove the negative first. And the reason why I do that is if you remove the positive and you happen to bump your wrench against a piece of metal, it's going to arc out on you. So I'm just using an 8mm socket on a 1/4" ratchet here. And I just pull it away, make sure it's not making any contact with the battery, and then we go to the positive. Alright, and then we've got the battery clamp, which is straight down. I think you can see it there. And for that I'm using a 13mm and a long extension and a 3/8" ratchet. And yank the battery out here. Alright, so now we need to remove the battery tray, and I'm going to use the same 13mm socket and this 3/8" ratchet here. And there's 2 bolts, one here and one here. I'm going to get that yanked out of here. Alright, so we're just going to yank the tray out of here. I've got to remove this entire battery hole down here. So it'll lift up off from that stud. Alright, so there's the Alright, so there's the vacuum actuator, and again, I diagnosed that it had transmission fluid in it a couple of weeks ago, and it split. It basically eats away the rubber. So now we need to get this off the bracket here. We could remove the whole bracket from the inside of the fender, but I'm just going to go ahead and remove the actuator here. Alright, so there are 3 small self-tapping screws on the back. I'm going to use a 7mm. This is a Dorman product. It costs about 35 bucks on Amazon, so it's not an OEM. Alright, because it's going to be too difficult to show you how to remove this spring clip on the actuator that's installed, I'll show you on this new one. Basically, there's a straight portion of the cable that sits in here, and then this straight piece of the spring clip rides into a groove. If we just kind of lift that up and out, that would release that, and then all we have to really do is push that back there. So the new actuator comes with a new spring clip, so you don't have to be so delicate with the one that's installed. But just to show you how to rip that out of there, basically it sits in a groove, and if we just push it back like that, it's going to lock back in place. So, and that cable, incidentally, in case you haven't seen any of the other videos, actually pulls the front differential into a lock state. So sometimes your transfer case could be locked in, so the vehicle thinks it's in 4-wheel drive, but your front differential is not locked in, so you don't have 4-wheel drive. Alright, let's go ahead and get this installed. Alright, so let's get this thing installed. First thing I'm going to do is hook up the vacuum line, because that kind of goes down. I've already got my spring clip pulled out, and I'm just going to retract it as though they were a vacuum. I'm going to slide it back into the groove. I'm going to test it out. Okay, so you want to make sure that the cable moves freely. You can actually feel it kind of clicking into place. And this again is locking in the front differential. Alright, so next we need to mount these screws, these that I basically threaded in earlier. And it's kind of blind, so you kind of feel around, and you may have to spin the actuator to get it to line up with the holes. But I think because we pre-threaded them, it's going to help a little bit. So basically that's it. I'm going to put the battery back in, test it out. We know it's pulling on the cable. You want to test that. You want to make sure that's working. And maybe this summer I'll get around to doing that transfer case seal. Because if not, all the vacuum lines and everything are just going to get ruined. All the heater controls are vacuum. And there's transmission fluid in there, so it's not good. We're just trying to get through the winter. And a job like that for me without a lift is going to take, you know, a couple of days. So I just want to get through the winter here and make sure the four-wheel drive is working. So thanks for watching. Leave questions and comments below. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet and you want to see more of this type of thing, please do hit that subscribe button. And if you're doing this job, take your time, good luck, and have fun.